Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be my June update for my Pan Those eyeshadows. I believe this is update 6 because I did start this in December, right? This project was created by Alexi. In this project, I randomized 5 eyeshadows from my collection, one of them being from my dedicated focus palette for the year. I have a goal to hit pan or at least use each shade 20 times, and I do not want to work on a black eyeshadow. Before hopping too far into it, I would love if you would subscribe to my channel. Now let's hop into this update. To kick it off, I wanted to mention my pan percentage, which is now 2.13%. I have decluttered 2 palettes this last month and hit 1 bonus pan. Previous to that, I was at an even 2% for my pan percentage, and I started the year at 1.69. So slowly but steadily increasing. The bonus pan I hit was from my ColourPop Dream Street palette. I did hit pan in the shade Shooting Star. I'm working on this palette in my project 100 uses, so just trying to use it 100 times. So I've had it out, and Shooting Star is a really wonderful, just neutral, I'm blinding you. The lighting is so weird where I'm at right now, but I need to film my videos quickly. Is a great neutral transition shade, but I'm happy to have one additional pan. This was the 6th pan I have hit in 2022. Now let's hop into the update on my 5 eyeshadows that I have in this project. As a disclaimer, I did not use my makeup all that much this past month. My whole family got sick with COVID, and even after like our recovery, just everything was super busy because we had spent over a week in isolation. Our house was a disaster. I just like wasn't wearing my makeup, and when I was wearing makeup, especially before COVID, I've been having a ton of fun just shopping my stash, just reaching for new things or old favorites, and I have really neglected my project pans this past month, which is really unfortunate, but I'm still after that elusive balance of not letting my entire makeup collection just go stagnant and go to waste untouched or like touched little, and project panning. Still working on it, but let's hop into my shades. The shade that's been in here the longest is Coastal Scents Deep Merlot, which is right here. I have used the shade twice since the last update, bringing me up to 7 uses. Oh, I forgot to post my color story. So that's what my color story is looking like. This is a deep shimmer, which is like a taupey purpley kind of shade. I really do enjoy it, but I've only used it 7 times, so I need to use it 13 more to roll it out. I do think this is going to be a shade that I use 20 times and then roll out. I don't foresee myself hitting pan on this anytime soon, and I'm reaching for more warm tones and colorful shades now that we are in summer. And this is a cool tone shimmer. It's beautiful on the lower lash line and like the outer part of my lid when I am doing a cool toned look, but I only did 2 of those this last month. While I have this here, I actually have another Coastal Scents single, which is kind of crazy, but I'm happy to be getting use out of this magnetic palette. And I'm also working on Deep Grape, Deep Merlot and Deep Grape. Very strange. I used this 3 times this month. I did roll it in last month, so I feel pretty good about that for a deep matte purple. Same kind of story as Deep Merlot. I do not foresee myself hitting pan in this, but I'm very happy to be using it. It is a deep, bright matte. It looks a little patchy in my swatch, but I did just put hand cream on because my hands are looking real crusty, and now I don't know if the crusty hands would have been preferable for swatches or freshly lotioned, but those are the 2 Coastal Scents shades I'm working on. I'm at 7 uses for Deep Merlot and 3 uses for Deep Grape. These are going to be in here for quite a while. The next oldest shade in my project comes from my Sephora Pro Warm palette. I really like having this out, but again, wasn't really reaching for it this past month. I'm working on the shade Sandstone right here. It looks super washed out. It's actually like a pretty light, vibrant orange. I used this 2 times this past month, bringing me up to 8 total uses. 12 more uses until I can roll it out. Again, a shade I really don't think that I can hit pan on. I've used this palette a lot and there's really not much for dips in there. Thank you guys all for your suggestions on how to pair orange and purple in like a sunset eye. I did do that once this month. I can pop in a picture and it was a lot of fun. I want to do it again in a different way. I used Pinterest and looked up like sunset makeup and there were so many options on how to combine purple and orange. So I'm really looking forward to playing with that more. And it really was a way to make these shades more summery. So thank you so much. I love it when you guys give me like color pairing suggestions. I'm enjoying working on this palette, but it's staying in. Like I said, I'm trying to make this a little bit quick. From my focus palette, I'm working on the Wet n Wild Comfort Zone. I'm working on the first crease shade, this bronze here. I did reach for this 2 times this past month as well, bringing me up to 5 uses. I feel like this is more firmly pressed than the green was. The green I hit pan in 9 uses and I've been focusing on the same kind of area over here and it's still pretty flat despite the 5 uses. And I'm using it in a similar way, mostly all over the lid, once or twice maybe on the lower lash line. Ouch. I do really like this shade. Like I said, why is everything so washed out? It's just a bronze shimmer. We are in my room, which I have been filming in more so lately because it is so quick, but it's a very rainy day. So I'm wondering if that is why my lighting is so weird. But there is the bronze. And last month we rolled in a palette I had never used before. So with these types of palettes, I want to use the entire thing 10 times, get a feel for it. Do I like the formula? Do I want to keep it, etc.? The shade I rolled in was Clay. So I was going to like mostly focus on that shade, but I also wanted to use everything else. And I have used this palette 5 times. I used Clay 4 of those times. So I could use this palette in its entirety 5 times. I used every single shade and I'm choosing to declutter this. Unfortunately, looking at it, I think I would really love it. The colors are fun. It's a little bit more unique to my collection. I mean, I could find all of these shades through my collection separately, but not necessarily together. I thought the combination like within the palette was really beautiful. The mattes, everything fades on me, which I've had this problem with other palettes in the past. And I used to hold on to them, be like, it's fine for filming or just if I don't need my makeup to last all that long. But in reality, it just looks awful in a couple of hours and I'm sick of it. I have tried so many different primers, not necessarily with this palette. I've only used it 5 times, but with other makeup in my collection. And if it's going to fade on me with a primer, it's just going to fade on me with no matter what primer it is. I've tried really packing things on, layering things up. I tried going deepest to lightest, lightest to deepest. Like this deep shade fades to just a really light brown. I did a really beautiful look. I can pop it in with the blues and the purples. And this purple here is the only one that lasted on me. And this is the deeper one. So I had this all kind of mostly over my lid and then this towards the very inner part. And I love this shade Wild Orchid. It's like a purpley blue. It's not really coming across, but I had a fabulous time with that shade. But this blue violet faded so quickly that then it was like a really light muddy mess, and then this vibrant purpley blue on the inner part. I tried shades on my lower lash line, which is not oily like my lids are, and even still it was just fading away to nothing. I am going to suss out all of the palettes that do this on me, and I'm finally going to get rid of them. I have so many palettes, so many eyeshadows, and I always feel a tremendous amount of guilt when it comes to decluttering, and I'm trying really hard to get out of that mindset. Still not declutter frivolously, But if makeup does not work for me, I should pass it along to someone it might work for. Like, why would I really try hard to pan this when I don't like? I keep justifying it because I do feel guilty, but I'm going to pass this along and try and relinquish some of that guilt. So that does mean we'll be rolling in a new shade. I am filming on my phone today, so I just have my computer here. I'm not really sure if you're going to be able to see, but I have in the numbers 1 to 1061. However, I haven't yet taken that Essentials 2 palette out of my spreadsheet. I did take it out for my pan percentage, which it didn't really change much because it was only 10 shadows over 1,000 that I have. But so if I roll a shade out of that palette, obviously I'm going to re-roll. I don't know if you're going to be able to see. I did turn my brightness up, but let's generate. I got 718. No idea if you can see that. Let's see what 718 is. It's actually a palette I have up in my everyday makeup drawer. I had been using this a little bit and was actually ready to put it away in my next Shop My Stash I was going to film, but this is the Alter Ego Artemis palette, which is a dupe for the Natasha Denona Metropolis. Now, I had a sneaking suspicion I was getting some of that fading issue with this palette. So I've only used this palette 3 times since I've owned it, so I am going to cheat a little bit and say this is going to be a 10 use goal as well to figure out if I have the same fading issues. But the shade I did pull is Captivate, and again, I will focus on this shade. Maybe I will choose to hit pan on it, I'm not sure. It is one of the orange matte shades. I will swatch it. Maybe it isn't matte. Is it more of a satin? And it is very similar to my Sephora Pro Warm shade. The Sephora Pro Warm is more of like a light, bright, almost like a mac and cheese kind of shade, whereas this is more of like your standard warm, burnt orange kind of color. They're too similar if I were trying to actually pan them both, but because I want to determine if this fades on me, and I'm going to use this the 10 times, I am going to keep it in. I will be sure to use that shade at least 5 of the 10 times, but for my 10 uses, I want to be using just this palette. I want to figure out if this formula will work on my eyes. The regular Natasha Denona formula does not. So I'm really hoping that the Alter Ego formula does, and that can be a way for me to get the Natasha Denona color stories. I know some people really do not like dupe palettes or dupe brands, but for someone like me in Canada, I think this was like $180 or something. I cannot spend that kind of money on makeup, period. So there's no way I would have ever been able to afford the Metropolis, and it turns out that Natasha Denona formula is hit and miss with my body. I like creating the looks, but then they fade away to a muddy mess. And apparently I'm not the only one. So 10 uses on this palette. I've only used it 3 times in the past. I'm looking forward to experimenting with this more. Because I really do love the color story. The warms with the greens and the blues mixed in is a lot of fun. I rambled on way longer than I should have in this video, and I need to film another one before the baby wakes up. So this is my new color story. I will actually pop in a picture that's not completely washed out. It's pretty much the same as it was, just without that cooler toned light brown from the Violet Voss palette, and exchanged it with a second orange shade. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. Like always, if you have any color combination suggestions, or maybe like Natasha Denona Metropolis style look ideas, then please do leave those in the comments below. I love reading through those. Thanks again for watching. Give this video a thumbs up if you did enjoy it, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.